trip through time, my friend. Having such a trip through time. We roll up on a ship that flies, my friend. Roll up on a ship that flies. I'm having such a trip through time, my friend. Having such a trip through time. We roll up on a ship that flies, my friend. Roll up on a ship that flies. I'm
Let's just start with it.
All right, you can take it away and coach me through.
I will. We're gonna do a similar breath to what kind of Derek has been sharing all tour. It's just like an inhale and an exhale in a rhythmic fashion, and we go through the mouth with it. And so what this does is in my tradition, in the tantra tradition, I have learned that this really helps to ground us in our experience, but it also helps to like bring energy into the brain, and in a very quick fashion. And so we can do it kind of rapid, because we'll do it for we'll do it for like less than 1 minute, but we'll just start taking big inhales through the mouth and out through the mouth, and no pauses, in and out, and in and out, and in and out. Keep going, in and out, and in and out, and in and out. And keep going, and now we're about halfway through, so if you want to extend it and draw it in slower and out slower, do that. Just a couple more. And here, we'll make this our last one. Together, we'll take a deep inhale. And then pause the breath. Just hold it for like 5 to 10 seconds. Be still. Feel the energy. And exhale softly. And then just tune in for a moment. Just tune in. Body space, studio, ground. Just coming home to the self before we launch into the past, and then we maybe go into the future a little bit, and we ground. Boom. Thank you. I needed that.
Thank you. I needed that too, in more ways than just getting ready for this podcast. So welcome to another episode of Trip Through Time. As time goes by, memories never die. Today, we blast off into the conversational space and time continuum. We're joined by Mr. Hyperspace himself. As you can see, the breathwork guru, an OG day one tripper. Been in the works since this all started, so I'd like to welcome Skylar, aka Hyperspace Sky. Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, we're going on record, and it's kind of weird, but my name is Sky, S-K-Y, like the big blue, like the sunshine coming through. Just for clarification, not short for anything.
Oh shit! I apologize. I thought you said
it's okay.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay. That's okay.
Because I refer to you as Hyperspace or is it Hyperspace or Sky, but like I thought for some reason in Chicago when we met in person, I thought for some reason you said that. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken, but thank you for correcting me on that. But yeah, so again, thanks for being here, dude. Again, long time coming. So tell the people about yourself, man. What's your story?
The hyperspace is a great start, and the sky is a great start. I've had a long journey, like we all have. And for me, it has been just like laced with joy and grief. And I think it's just oscillated between those two for a really long time. And the hyperspace for me is a reminder, and the sky for me is a reminder that like I can really easily disembody myself and I can get like really hyper and I could get like with what I got going on in my mind and in my sphere and my body and the stuff that I've been through. Um, yeah, why be shy? Like I'm diagnosed bipolar 1. I've been living with this for my whole life, but I didn't know it my whole life. And so the hyperspace part is kind of like it's a recognition of who I am, but also like a reminder for me to take a breath every now and then. And yeah, my trip through time actually started with Pretty Lights when I was 19, I guess, in 2006. And I was living in Fort Collins at the time, and I heard Taking Up Your Precious Time. And it was after a very precious time for me turned sour when I lost a really good friend and roommate to partying in Breckenridge the like months before. And so that time for me was kind of like a blur of grief. And I was feeling so intensely and also like in this fight of like, what can I feel? What am I ready to feel? Like this whole thing. And so Pretty Lights was like dropping me into some feels that I wasn't ready for then. And it was a little too pretty for me then. I didn't understand it. I was still kind of smoking a bunch of weed and making sense of what had happened to the friend group at the time, and listening to like I grew up listening to classic rock, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. My dad has really good musical taste, like Southern rock, or like I definitely listened to Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers. The Doors was a little bit more psychedelic than my dad got, but I really loved that stuff. And then like Sublime and Slightly Stupid, and that was my vibe before Pretty Lights. And 311. I actually saw 311 at Red Rocks a few times before I traded out Pretty Lights for 10 years, as we'll get to. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. So you grew up in Colorado? Is that where you were originally from?
I did grow up in Colorado. My family moved when I was really young from Texas to Colorado, actually, when I was 7. And so I grew up in Colorado. Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we can call living in Colorado growing up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was chasing the dream.
That's where you aged into, your mature life. Just to give a little backstory, guys, like long time coming, like I said, and again, a day one. I mean, literally, I feel like you were the first person who messaged me on our Instagram when we started this whole thing up, and we've been talking ever since consistently. So it's awesome to have you on, man. It's definitely been a long time coming, and I knew, and you knew, we even said it, that your time wasn't necessarily during the tour, and I'm glad we're doing it in this way, in this off season version of the podcast where we're still having fans on and kind of diving deeper and not necessarily having specific things to talk about, but that's what Pretty Lights is kind of about. It shows, you're all there for one thing, but you get to know people all in and outside of the music. So it's funny, like been interacting this whole time. We both weren't supposed to go to Chicago, very last minute for the both of us. We do our last raffle, and the last one had a hat in it. Sky ends up winning. Yeah, there it is. For those of you not watching, it's that teal or tidal wave, whatever one it was. So it was just awesome that the whole story of us, and then finally meeting at that epic show, and then you winning that. It was just a lot of stars aligning, which was really cool. Got a really interesting story that I only know surface level stuff on. That's a big reason I've also wanted to have you on. Everything you do in the community, and everything your life has kind of come to. Now I'm going to be a father myself, so a lot of things that outside of just the music that we love, we can get into. So it's dope. Thanks again, man.
I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this, yeah, since we met, and I was like, yeah, you're doing the thing here, getting to know the in and outs, I think, and like this is part of what drew me like deeper into the Pretty Lights family. Since the comeback is just people really like, I don't know. I think I don't know how much you've talked about the hiatus with other people, but it was rough. It was fucking
Yeah.
rough, man. Like when your favorite band like goes away and it's kind of like shitty, and like we got to deal with it, you know. But then like when we're going like from when like it's off tour, because Pretty Lights had off season too, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But like I would chase shows when I lived in Colorado, so it just hit in a different way. And when the came back, it was like, well, you could feel this inspiration strike in such a different way. And like the artistry, the creative collaboration that was just like immediately
Yeah.
reignited was something so just like to me, that was like, this is the healing vibe. This is what I need in my life. It was like, how do we do this? Like I'm a family guy. During the hiatus, we bought a property and we built a home, which is two different things. Like buying a house and building a home are two different things, you know. And we did. We had a daughter. We'll get to that story here in a little bit. For me, a lot of what I can do now is just breathe and like hold space.
Yeah.
And so I knew how excited Pretty Lights made me, because when the comeback happened, and we'll just go there. I know we're gonna jump through time,
Yeah.
but we'll go right there. Is like when the comeback happened, I got so inspired also, but that inspiration I could feel was like kind of leading me into like the how many stops can I get vibe versus the like how can I use this creative inspiration in this new way, in this new life that I've been living, while still enjoying what I love, you know? Because I can't travel to all the shows anymore. I busted my body up snowboarding for too many years. You know, you saw me walking with a cane sitting in ADA at Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm raging in the chair still. I'm doing yoga like every day so that I can enjoy life, but like I can't send it like I used to. And I'm like, that's where we could just jump right to the gratitude, is because like, I don't know if we would have taken a break all the way like we needed to if we
Yeah.
weren't forced to, you know? And so like, I am grateful, even though it was hard. And the comeback, we were like pregnant. We found out we were pregnant a couple weeks before the announced like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ah, we were like, okay, we're gonna do one stop. We know where we're at in our life. We're gonna do one stop. We know we want it to be in Colorado because we like want to go back, and we're both from there. And so we chose to go to Dillon, and we locked in what we could for Dillon. VIP for Dillon for night one and night two. And we made the trek out there last year. Or I guess not 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. All right. So yeah, let's go into the shows. So just I always like to pull the stats.
Yeah.
Sky over here has been to 30, and this is just always blows my mind about Colorado people. Like this is just insane. So it took until his 20th show to see a show outside of Colorado, and that was at the Gorge, which we were both at. So 26 out of 30 in Colorado just blows my mind. And just over half, 16 out of 30 at Red Rocks. So we were at 12 shows together. And it's crazy that, I mentioned this before, but right after we met you, I met you set break night one in Chicago. We just announced the raffle before that show, and then I meet up with you and during set break, and then they start playing, and we have like an intimate conversation. I kind of ask you about being disabled and the injury and things like that, and you got a little emotional, and I just know obviously you're more of a spiritual guy, and I don't know, I just and seeing how you were getting down, it was awesome. You had a great view. But yeah, like you said, this guy's sitting, but he's raging. He's getting real into it. There's a little clip I put of you in my reel and shit. They play Sun Spreads in Our Minds to open up, and that just really spoke to me in that moment. And I could just feel that you and I connected over that. I don't know. I just like I'll never not think of you with that song. And it's just funny that like the first time I heard it was at the Gorge. We were there, didn't know it, and then we come to and meet, and right after we meet, that's the first song they play. And again, it was an unspoken bond or unspoken bond, in that moment. And it just
Yeah.
was really awesome. I don't know. I can't describe exactly what it was that made me feel that, but I just knew it. I don't know. Yeah.
That familiarity in company with, authenticity. I appreciate the connection that we built, and like it
Yeah.
was like It was fucking written in the stars, man, for us to meet and share that song at Chicago and just yeah, that song in particular has been like really a guiding light for me since like the comeback really since it started in like a rotation,
Yeah,
I guess we would call it, because the stuff that has been parallel has deepened my experience of Pretty Lights as well.
yeah,
As I expand my consciousness in other arenas, in yoga, in um, in other spiritual traditions,
yeah,
in the medicine tradition, and all sorts of stuff, like it deepens my experience with life. And Pretty Lights is something that has been with me, like in my headphones, snowboarding, day after day after day after day, like for so long that like it transcends patterns, if that makes sense. It transcends like to me it's like it is a guiding light. It's that light that I have always felt like a spark that leads me to my best self,
yeah,
you know? And it's not me leading me deeper into something I shouldn't be doing, because if that was the case then I'd have more shows, bro. Like I'd have more shows outside of Colorado first. But it was like for me surviving as like a young adult, and like because I was when I got introduced to Pretty Lights, I was like, I need a season pass. I got to have my gear to snowboard,
yeah,
and I need my Red Rocks tickets for PO.
yeah,
You know, and then that for me was like all I could sustain because I had to work year round at like 20, at like 19, 20, 21, and 22, and so it was my enjoyment, but it was also like a yearly ceremony for me that became something so much deeper when I went, because I would go I would go sometimes alone, sometimes I went with like a few times I went with the girl I was dating, and it was great. Sometimes I would go with the big crew, and I'd always end up like bopping around and like meeting new people and talking to people who were just seeing Pretty Lights for the first time or who had just been to Red Rocks for the first time, and it was such just a breath of fresh air of this like we're all just babies attitude, right? We're all just experiencing this for the first time, even though we've experienced it so many times. It's new every time. And for Pretty Lights, that's I know I'm not the only one that feels like that. That's why I keep coming back.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man. Going back to Red Rocks in 2018, you said that, if I'm not mistaken, you left like the next day with your now wife and went and moved to Oregon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just a wild synchronicity that my wife and I decided to like kind of pull the plug on our rave life because we felt the deep call to like build a home together and
Yeah.
really like kind of examine the things that were going on, and we felt like a deep resonance at that time to like take care of ourselves in a new way because we had found each other, and um, yeah, so we had spent 2018, like, so I guess we'll go from 2017, because I lived in Summit County from 2006-ish, cut like a summer in Fort Collins, a couple winters in Winter Park, but mostly in Summit County and Dillon and in Frisco
Oh
and
shit.
Breckenridge.
Yeah.
For 12 years, I lived there. And so then in 2017, um, I was I moved like in between the gorge. Uh, Red Rocks was like my last month of being in my place in Dillon, and I was moving to Denver, transferring with Whole Foods. Like it was just like this mad rush of kind of like energy calling me out, and I hadn't even met my wife yet. And it was just like energy calling me away. I had served my time, I guess, in Summit County, very well. It served me a lot, and I learned a lot, and I like became a really great chef. And I worked for Whole Foods and was a specialist for them, a buyer for them. And I finally had a position where I could leverage myself to go do something else. And like, so I wanted to go down to Denver because at that time it was like I was ignoring my broken leg still. And I knew that I wasn't going to stop snowboarding or doing those kind of things if I didn't leave. So I had to leave, and I made it as smooth as I could. And I was like, if I'm leaving, I'm spending my money, my past money, to go to the Gorge and to go to Red Rocks. And it was the Gorge one weekend, and then we flew back, and it was Red Rocks the next weekend. And then I spent the next 2 weeks moving down to Denver. And then we went to Grizz like 2 nights live. I think one was like live band, maybe, I don't know. But then I met my wife a month after I moved down to Denver. Like a month. And it was like it was kind of like a chaotic thing. And the Red Rocks and Gorge shows gave me like this, like, this is wild, but I know I'm on the right track kind of vibe. Yeah. Especially like Rainbow and Waterfalls dropping at the Gorge was like something beyond me at that time. Um, yeah, it's just, I think I felt the evolution coming. And so I had already made some moves for myself, and it just helped me like resonate with that. And then the next year I spent kind of like in the Denver-ish area and community and going to a bunch of shows and like not feeling like I did at Pretty Lights anywhere else. And so I was like, and I had some other experiences that were not great at other shows with, and so I was like, all right, maybe I'm like maybe we're doing something else, and started talking with my wife and was like, there's just a lot up in the air. Amazon was taking over Whole Foods at the time too. I was helping change over a bunch of shit for like from a place that I really like enjoyed that had a lot of personality into a giant corporate thing. And it was just different. And it went really smoothly, and I helped them do that. And then eventually it was just like, something was not right for me in that anymore. And, that's a different podcast. But so I had to move, I had to like just keep following this vibe. And for me, Pretty Lights was that vibe. Pretty Lights was this thing. And so my wife and I just really like decided to tune into what we wanted, where we wanted to be, how we wanted to live, and what we felt was a good life for us moving forward. And we wanted to like own a property and take more control of our food, like gardening and raising our own poultry. But we had just started this like we came together and felt the home aspect, and we were like, okay, let's let it manifest. We followed the breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs turned into a job out in Oregon. And we found a place, and we looked at it, and we were like, we know this is the place. We want to be here at least for the next 5-10 years. And like, so we were looking for a place, and then we found the place. And then the job that I came for ended. And then COVID happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we had moved away from Denver. We were moved away from all of our family. Some of the people that we moved here, like that were with the company, left too. And so it was my wife and I on our property that we bought, and like we were facing reality for ourselves, and just like looking at ourselves, at our bodies, where we were. My wife is an epileptic. She got non-consensually dosed at a show in about 2015, and it made it worse. It started to manifest as like actual like physiological seizures and stuff. And so we live a life to. I'm disabled. She's disabled. We live a life to like keep boundaries for us to stay safe. And so that's what we've been doing. That's what we did during the hiatus. But we knew that we were going to do that. And we knew that we were taking a break from Pretty Lights even. We knew we were. And so we had never been to a Pretty Lights show together. 2018 Red Rocks was our first show together. And It was also and so it was so powerful because we had been kind of going to the same shows, hanging out with familiar people for like a decade almost, and never met each other. And then when I moved down to Denver, we met each other. We went to a couple shows. We really like fell for each other, but not fell. We actually like rose to the occasion because of the feelings that we felt. Right? We rose to the occasion. We were like, you make me want to be better. You make me want to live this life right now. And so we did, and we said, we're going to buy tickets to Red Rocks and go have our Pretty Lights experience together. And then we're going to go have our happily ever after.
Yeah, another true testament to people's lives between during the hiatus and, before, during, and after. And yeah, that's wild, dude. I know you mentioned, so we were both at the debut of the band. You said
Yep.
you were there, and you said afterwards you kind of have a cool story. So if you want to share
Yeah,
that.
yeah. At the time, I was dating a very nice young lady. We had a great relationship, great friendship, and we went to Pretty Lights together for those 2012, 2013. My healing journey, like, really, like, it really fucking started kicking my ass in 2012 when I had a knee surgery. And at the time I had waited a year already to get knee surgery because the person that I was with had a knee surgery. I needed one. And like, so I like kind of helped her recover. And then I was like, hey, like, I need to go now investigate my shit because it's really not good. So 2012, I was fresh out of surgery like a couple months and still like not able to walk. So I was like, we were front row. Then the next year, she had blown out her knee again. And so we were in ADA again for 2013 for the live band debut as well. So the live band debut, and you could tell so much went into that. The orchestra was there too, right?
Oh, that was 2014. So 13,
Okay. Yeah,
which I
yeah.
actually, in honor of you, I always kind of throw a poster up, but that was 13. But yeah, that was the first Analog Future band. I mean, controversial reviews. I just thought at the time I was mind blown because it was just like these songs are heard live. So a lot of people weren't crazy about the set.
Oh,
I think they played. If I'm
I
not
love Three
mistaken, they
Lights.
may have. I mean, yeah, no, it was. I mean, it was my first time in Colorado, first time Red Rocks. Like, those are my fifth and sixth shows. I never like those. That was like my first like, wow, I'm like everyone is so here for this because saw three festival sets in a college town show. So like that was the first time I felt like the fan base. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I would see Pretty Lights as just Bridge Reno and Laser Shark because I have. I would see Pretty Lights as Laser Shark, Derek, and Adam Deitch because I have. I think I'm not the person. I'm the person that likes all the Star Wars, bro. Like to me, it's like your vibe or it's not. Why do I got to be picky about it? The live band for me was amazing. So afterwards we went to decompress. We were healing at her lake house up in Grand Lake. We went up and it turned out that Borum was um, dating her next door neighbor at the lake, and he also came up to decompress at that point, that weekend after, and we like hung out a little bit.
Was the girl you were dating at the time, was she friends with her neighbor? Or was it just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were like, yeah, yeah.
okay, you knew ahead of time that you were gonna be like kicking it, or was it just like he kind of just showed up?
Uh, I think like the girls may have known, but
Oh, but
like
you,
they
you
would just,
didn't know.
I didn't know.
No way. That's gotta be
I didn't fucking know.
crazy. You
Or
went to
maybe I found out like on the way up, like I
oh, okay.
guess, or something like that. But like, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
And
fuck. That's
and
awesome.
he's such a chill dude. Like we talked about Pretty Lights. We talked about the shows for like maybe 10 minutes, and then dude, I let him have his rest, man. Like
Yeah, yeah.
this. He didn't come up to get grilled or like teach me about shit. Like, so I was just like, let's fucking chill. You want to go take the boat out? And
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was like,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, no, that's dope. I mean, obviously, like as much as if I ever think if I were ever in a scenario like that, you want to obviously show that you appreciate them, but you don't want to be annoying and be like, so tell me about this and that, but so you just want to dial it back and be like, yeah, dude, what up? What's good? Act chill,
Fanboy.
But
No,
yeah,
no, I totally was just honest. I was like, dude, I'm like a really big fanboy, and
yeah,
like I'm
yeah,
stoked.
yeah,
I'm stoked in the direction that it's going, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
I also understand that like, dude, boundaries.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
We talked about like music theory for a
That's
while,
dope. Yeah, do you
and
play music? Have you ever
I
played
do.
music? What do you
Yeah, I
play?
do. Um, Now I play like whatever makes noise. I started with the flute. I played classical flute
Nice.
for 8 or 9 years, I think,
Wow.
as a kid and a young teen. In like high school, I played bass.
Oh, dude, your basement. Hell yeah. Right on.
And when I was really little, my parents like taught like we like were taught music theory through piano and through chorus, like choir and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And so I sing and yeah, I mean like I've been ripping to the new PL stuff, but I've also been teaching myself more recently piano intuitively and just jamming out really good to yeah, yeah. I make music now. I produce in Ableton, but I don't have like this I have like an interface. I don't have like an electric keyboard or that kind of
Mhm.
stuff
Yeah.
yet, so the stuff that comes out of the DAW is like synthesizer stuff like that I'm designing and like different stuff that I'm pulling through the programs and all that stuff. So
That's dope.
yeah.
Right
I'll
on,
share a
dude.
song. I'll share a song with you.
Yeah. Yo, guys, I'm here to talk to you about a homie in the community that's hooked us up. This is Kusai at Kusai Supply on Instagram. That's KUSAI Supply. Kusai Supply is a consciously curated cannabis agency out of Austin, Texas, curating culture for the community through cannabis. DM to get started. The homie blessed us with 2 of their live rosin pens and 2 samples of their concentrate. This shit's fucking bomb. I'm loving the pens. So you guys give them a shout. This shit's great. And I'm big on the live resin. So check them out. Again, that's Kusai Supply on Instagram. DM to get started. All right. Well, yeah. If you don't mind, touch on your snowboarding journey and what kind of the exact like physical stuff went on and everything like that. I don't know. I mean, whatever you'd like to share.
Dude, I was a wild kid, like being bipolar one and like being manic and shit. Like I just went off the walls, and it was like uncontrollable, I guess, but I had like a good flow state that I could access. So a lot of it kept me safe until the few times a year that I didn't stay safe and got hospitalized. And so it started way earlier. And I was always like, I played soccer and rugby growing up too. I was a goalkeeper in soccer, and I played rugby, in high school. And so like, it was something that like, to me, I got injured in rugby and realized I don't want to do this anymore. I want
What
to,
was the injury?
I dislocated my ankle.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was bad, like on the field, and it was bad. It was bad. It got relocated on the field because luckily there was a there was a person there who was an orthopedic surgeon, and he
Wow.
kind of just like ran on the field and was like, I see what's, it was just, he saved my leg, I guess.
Wow.
Um, But yeah, that was like when I graduated high school. And so my shot at like playing soccer or doing rugby or doing anything in college was gone because of that injury. And like I didn't really know if I wanted to go to college anyway, but I knew I wanted to snowboard, and that made it more apparent to me like I needed to heal in physical therapy so I could get back on my snowboard because that's what I really enjoyed to do at the time. Was just like that was where I felt free. And after high school, I knew I wanted to move like to the mountains and actually like give myself to this lifestyle for a little while because that's how much like it was like the pretty lights vibe for
Yeah.
me was like it was calling me into the mountains.
Yeah.
Um, And so I stayed in Summit County for 12 years. I got hospitalized and injured every fucking year. So like, we say like, when I went to go get my knee surgery in 2012, I like had been riding on a knee that didn't have ligaments. I'd been snowboarding on a knee that didn't have a PCL or an LCL, like really like at all, and
Mhm.
a couple tears in my meniscus for 2 seasons already. So I waited to get, so if, if you got stuff going on, don't wait. I know it's scary to go, but it gets a lot worse if you don't go. I had injuries that I never like took care of
Yeah.
first. And then like in 2009, I broke my ankle, but was like they couldn't get it on the x-rays. So they like said it was a bad sprain. They gave me some pills. They told me to go home and rehab. And it was like, it would, it would get a little bit better, but it would never go away.
Mhm.
And then I would buy new snowboard boots or something to try to like and like make myself believe like it was my snowboard boot. And then I'd ride for a couple weeks and then I'd start riding harder and it would like full broken bone pain would come back.
Mhm.
And so then I'd be like, oh, I need these boots don't work. I'm gonna go buy other boots and see if those, and so like I
Yeah.
got myself kind of trapped in this other
Right.
thing. And then I went and had a knee surgery and like dude, I just like every year it was something. It was like I dislocated my elbow one year. I broke my wrist like 4 times in one year. Like just training. And I was like my goal, I wasn't just reckless, everybody. I was actually like training as hard as I could to be a professional snowboarder,
Okay.
Like
So that's
to
that's that's the level you were at in terms of like skill and shit, right? Is that
that's the level I was trying to get to.
yeah?
And I don't even think I got there until after my knee surgery in 2012 when I said, fuck it, I'm not competing anymore. I want to ride because I love it and I have to stay safe and I have to get strong and I have to eat right and I have to sleep and I can't fucking drink no more and I can't do anything else because I want to be alive and I want to do what I love to do with my body.
Yeah. Um. So you were doing that for fun in 2012, and then at what point was it that it was no more?
So in 2012, I sat out 2012, 2013 season, of snowboarding, and actually started producing music pretty heavily then, which was, yeah. I went through professional sports rehabilitation
Uh huh.
that time. And I was in rehab for 3 days a week, and my goal was to get back on my snowboard, and I did. And I got back on my snowboard, and I was back, and I was hitting jumps and dropping cliffs and hitting the big rails in fucking Park Lane and at Keystone and at Breck and Freeway, and like I was doing the thing again. But my leg was still broken from the first injury, so I was still like thinking that like my setup or something like is not. It's anyways. Then 5 more years goes by. I'm riding on my broken leg. The next like 2013 and 2014, um, I like was I was working a lot and as a chef, and that's when I got kind of recruited by Whole Foods because they were building Whole Foods in Frisco, Colorado.
Mhm.
I was working a lot and I was snowboarding because I didn't know what else to do, like with my energy, and I was hooked. It was like this thing and I was hooked, I was just hooked to the adrenaline, hooked to it. And the relief that I got from it was enough to make me believe the pain was worth it until it wasn't. And in 2000, like on New Year's Eve of 2000 and maybe 15 or 16, whichever one it was. I mean, it may have very well been the day after Pretty Lights, who knows? But I broke my other leg in at Keystone. Um,
Holy fuck.
yeah, so it's a thing, dude. Like, it's not just it wasn't one thing, but it was enough of a lot of things that now I like can't do shit. Like, I can walk and I
Yeah.
can get from here to there and I can stand until my body says sit. And most of the time it's like fucking sit. So,
Oh, fuck, dude.
and even like walking through the airport or like you know, like I got a ride at the airport a couple times to come to Chicago, man, because like I can't fucking, I want to be there, but it's so hard for me to be there. So this is where I go again, thankful for the streams, because I haven't missed a show, and I felt really immersed in the community with the Discord and the Twitch chat and this, like when it's going on. Like shout out to everybody that makes that possible, because like with what I got going on, it's better for me to stay at home. And I still want to be able to tune in. And yeah, there's that, like the energy of being in the space with everybody is so great, but it takes so much out of me that like it takes me like a month to fucking recover. I'm still in like this recovery period from Chicago, just because of how much I have to give to myself daily just to stay like to in a place where I can like meet people and say, "Hey, what's up? Life is cool."
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, that's, really sheds light. I don't think I'm a negative person overall, but sometimes I can feed into the negatives, and, I can think things are this way and that way. And, I don't, for instance, I'm standing on the pod right now. I'm taking, people take those things for granted. So it's, you've taught me a lot in the short time and interactions that we've had together. I saw you there, and you were grooving and stuff. But I mean, I noticed you took your time, you sat down, when you needed it, and you touched on this story a little bit, and the emotions are coming out, and I could really feel that for you. I mean, I can only imagine if something I loved got like ripped away from me, and then losing a thing like that. It's got to be really tough, and I can only. It's just, again, I feel that from you, and then like having the conscious awareness to like make the most out of what you got, and you're always talking about your daughter and things like that. So I'm learning a lot through getting to know you, man. So thank you.
Yeah, man, healing stuff. Healing stuff. And when we focus on, I think what changed for me was trying to focus more on what allowed me to feel healed as I was in that moment, in this moment.
Yeah.
And like Pretty Lights is one of those things. Pretty Lights makes me feel healed when I listen to it. And being with my daughter makes me feel healed, you know? And like for a long time, for like 5 years at least, snowboarding didn't make me feel healed, but I was trying to convince myself that it did because I didn't know what else to do. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I didn't, I have friends that snowboard, but the Midwest is different. Like people who live in these areas where it's a big part of life. I mean, for instance, out here, there's a lot of surfers. Like, I can only imagine if people like that's your life, and sometimes in a lot of ways your escape or whatever it may be. It's got to be tough to like lose that. I mean, it's not like it's even deeper than, we all lost Pretty Lights for 5 years, but we still had the music to go back and listen to if we really wanted to. We still had, I mean, just yeah, it's tough to have something
Yeah,
like.
it's still hard for me to watch snowboarding videos. It's
Oh,
still
I
hard for
bet
me
I
to
can only, dude.
like
I can only imagine, dude. I could
so
only imagine. Yeah.
and it was and like understandably I didn't know how to be in relationship with people that my whole identity to in the relationships was snowboarding.
Yeah.
Like I didn't because like it was like all of a sudden this identity was ripped away from me. And so like I couldn't show up in the spaces that I was showing up in anymore. And I think that what I felt was like I really felt a call that if I decided to stay, it would have gotten a lot worse. And so what I needed to do was instead of running away, I needed to run into myself. And I couldn't run into myself any deeper where I was at. So so my wife and I were in that same kind of healing twin flame journey, moving to a blissful place. And needed, we needed to really tune in, you know, cause at that point I was still I was still like just dissociating from my pain every day with willpower and breath and energy. There's like all sorts of ways to bypass pain, right? But like, so I don't know. I started feeling it. I started accepting it. I started slowing down a lot. And I started kind of pushing things out of my field for a while that maybe made me seem cold a little bit. But for me, it was like keeping me from just the grief, the deepest like grief, depression that like I needed space from to figure out what else there was in life. And then I fell deeper in love with my wife, my property here. I
Yeah.
started having that feeling again, like that pretty lights feeling again, because that's what snowboarding gave me. And like you said, when something like that is ripped away from us, for minutes we scramble to see if there's anything like it.
Yeah, it's almost like a breakup. Like, you're feeling this time and energy that was in your life for a while. And sometimes when you break up with someone, it's right, but it still hurts so much because you're so lost in terms of like everyday life. Like you don't even know what to do with yourself. So yeah, man. I mean, and I play music, but like I go through periods where I'm not playing as much and this and that. I like, but let's just say another musician was like got lost their arm or something, like that's where it's just like, yeah, you can't play guitar anymore.
Yeah. Not only could I not, and this is like the disabled part, is not only could I not snowboard anymore, like, yeah, I can walk from my seat. I can walk around my house.
Yeah,
Could go do some stuff around until I hit my limit. I could walk from the car to the yoga studio. Like I could do
yeah,
some stuff, right? But like, a lot more needs to get done,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Dude, I didn't only lose snowboarding, I lost my career. I was a chef and I was a seafood specialist and I was in management, product management and like financial management at Whole Foods. And then I couldn't sustain the workload there. So I like transferred into the cannabis industry into a more like less laborious kind of position. Um, and even then, like the labor I couldn't sustain it. Like it was still like I thought I was like, okay, I'm good. I can't work at Whole Foods anymore, right? Like I can't sustain that. So maybe if I downgraded a little bit, but I still couldn't do that. And so it's been a whole like I've had to kind of rebuild my own life as we are building our life out here. And I want to say, fucking, I'm so stoked. Like if you've made it this far in the podcast, thanks for sticking with us because it's a happy fucking ending here. Like it really is. And I think that I'll just drop in and tell the Leela story now if you want.
Yeah, go for it, man. We're just kind of going with the flow, man. We're just friends talking.
Let's talk about the baby. Leela Althea Samso, Rothgar is her name. Leela Althea Samso. We found out we were pregnant in early 2023, and then a couple weeks later, the announcement, the comeback comes back. And then we say, okay, well, we're pregnant. We obviously can't go do more. We obviously can't go do more than one stop this year, is what we told ourselves. And so we said, hey, we're going to go to Dillon because I got people there. Like, I got homies, like, we got family there. So, like, we could just stay. And we stayed, like, literally, like, in the apartments that were, like, across from Dillon Amphitheater. So it was super cush and really nice. Shout out Alicia. I know you'll be listening here. And so, but we went and I was like, I was not in as good of shape as I was in when you saw me at New Year's. I was still like kind of using the cane as a crutch. So we went to night 1 and night 2. We went out and it was fantastic. We went and like saw the people and did the thing. And, that's actually the first time that I led yoga before Pretty Lights. Was all 3 days. We didn't go to the third night because that was beyond our
Tickets were crazy.
capacity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no,
Oh,
we had the opportunity to have tickets, but we had gone the first 2 nights, and where we were at, we were like, no, like we're gonna stream it. Like we can't I can't
Oh,
do it.
cool.
I
Yeah.
can't do it. And so, um, but I led yoga. I led the class that I lead every week on Sundays. I led it before Dylan out in the like thing in the morning before every stop. And so that's when I started leading yoga before pretty lights. Um, but I started doing yoga and breath work before all of the streams, like after that, just on my own. And it amplified my experience so much. And I know we're getting to the Leela stuff, but at the same time, I'm training and I've been studying for the last, like, honestly, I've been practicing and studying Kundalini yoga for the last 10 years. And I've been like really studying and training for the last 5 and doing teacher trainings for the last 3. And this is all like kind of inside of this new beautiful energy. And my wife and I wanted to expand our family. Especially when we were like, oh, well, we have all this love that we're not giving to Pretty Lights, so maybe we can give it to a baby. And no, it was more than that. It was deeply considered, and with my wife's health journey also, it was even more deeply considered because she is diagnosed epileptic, and so pregnancy is different for her. And so we had no idea when. We knew that the baby was going to be due, like around Halloweenish, is what the Halloween 2023.
Yeah.
Um, and so we're streaming and we're like, and I got the, you can see this is like this is the swirl station here, but we were like streaming.
So she's like 7 months pregnant at Dylan.
Yeah. 7 months pregnant at Dylan.
Yeah.
Just like hearing country roads and just like just such good, it was really good energy. And my wife felt good the whole time. And then the third night, we were also like, no, we just need to rest. We need to chill because of like you're 7 months pregnant. It's okay. Like you
Yeah.
don't need to go be on your feet because it's more important for you to be safe and healthy and whatnot. But then we go through like the rest of the stops, like our fire. We're listening to them at home, and then all of a sudden, like we start getting closer to the due date, and we're like, "Oh shit, this might actually be on a Pretty Lights weekend. Like she might actually be born on a Pretty Lights weekend." And so I'm like, "Can we stream? Can we stream at the birth center? Like they got internet, right? Can we stream?" And so I was like, maybe we're gonna do this. And then the time comes where it's like we were hoping that she came out on like Halloween was like the real like kind of marker. But then my wife's birthday is November 9th and Leela is born on November 10th. And so November 9th, 2023 is the first night of Warfield. And that's my wife's birthday.
Wow.
Right?
Fuck, that's a
So
trip.
I'm like, I feel it. And like, we make salmon en croûte, which is like salmon Wellington essentially, but like with hollandaise and like, I make a rich meal. Like, I'm like, this is a baby
A
poppin' meal.
salmon
Like
Wellington, so that's salmon within a bread
puff
outline.
pastry.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's so good. Yeah, look, it's called salmon en croûte, and I'm pretty sure Gordon Ramsay like created it, maybe. Don't quote me on that, but definitely try it, and it's delicious, and it'll impress your wife. And it will also induce labor, apparently. So we're listening to night 1, and it's just holy wow, what a birthday set. My wife is like crying, like, and she's like getting this, like, she's like getting downloads, and she's like, wow, like. I, how are all my favorite songs coming right now? And I'm kind of making jokes like this weekend is about you. Like it's about you. It's like
Blowing my mind just from what the way that I'm looking at each of these nights. This is a trip.
dude,
Yeah.
and so everybody that I met that was at the Warfield, they're like, dude, that was my favorite show of the tour.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we don't know why. It was just the energy. And I was just like, I don't know either, but I also felt like it was special. And we're very spiritual people. And so we knew that birth for us was going to be a spiritual ceremony. Like we knew it was going to be like a spiritual, like consciousness expanding ceremony. And we had been planning on it. And we had been preparing for it with our doula and our doctor and the facility. And we've been saying, hey, we're spiritual people. We're going to bring music. I might bring some like stuff to cleanse the room. And like, we're not going to burn anything in there, like, cause it's a hospital
Yeah.
place, right? But like, we're going to do what we do to make ourselves feel comfortable because this is our birth experience and it is a ceremony to us. It is sacred to us. But yeah, dude, I felt on the side of all of that, I fucking felt such magnetism, like, of Pretty Lights going to the Warfield, this iconic San Francisco, like, right in the fucking heart, dude, of it all. And I was like, I could already feel, like, Jerry there. I could already feel the family, just, like, waiting, hanging out, like, just, like, where everybody's, like, you're ready for this, right? Like and so it was just such anticipation going into it. Then on night one, it was the Nine Inch Nails Nirvana. Like it was like one of the whoa. My wife is bouncing on the like exercise ball because it's like helping her with what, at the end, it was just helping her. And so she's like, bouncing on it and she's saying, I'm like, she's bouncing with the rhythm. She's feeling it. And then Alvin goes into the drum solo in that song and she goes into labor. So we blame Alvin.
Wait, that was night two?
We encourage, that was night one. Night one.
Oh, she goes in. Wow. Oh, wow.
Okay. So we opened, so the birth ceremony
wow.
started essentially. She went into labor night one. And it was Nine Inch Nails. There was like 3 songs left or 3 swirls left. And I said, what do we need to do? We're prepared to leave already. We're prepared to leave. We just got to get the animals. We got to tell, we got to tell our person who's watching the animals and we're good. So it's when you want to leave. And she said, well, I want to time the contractions and we'll at least like, so she said, nah, let's wait out the set. So we waited out, we watched the rest of the set and we timed her contractions and we started to get a good game plan of when we potentially needed to go to the birth center, right? And so that was a few hours later in the middle of the night, actually. And so we went in because we were like, okay, well, tonight was so fire. We know we're going to have to stream tomorrow night. Because like whatever happens, like whether baby's still in you or coming out or is out, we want to be able to like have our enjoyment, which makes us feel comfortable and connected. And that was being able to tune in to the live stream. And so we go and get set up in the birth center all day on, I think it was a Saturday maybe. But on night 2, we get on that day 2, we get all set up. And we get in there. We're the only people in there. So when we get in there and we bring a speaker in, the nurses kind of ask us, they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, are you guys going to, like, I was like, is it cool if we play music? They say, yeah, absolutely. There's not anybody else in here. You guys can, like, you can play it. And so we said, okay, cool. And we, like, settle in. My wife is having contractions. She's in the labor process, but it's going smooth. She's coherent. She decided she doesn't want to take the drugs. She wants to be conscious for it. She wants to remember, and she wants to watch Pretty Lights. She doesn't want to be drugged. She doesn't want to be drugged up. And so I said, yeah, I'm supporting you with this. This is the plan. And we know that we can adjust the plan, right? Like, and just there as support, buffering it, right? Because this is an intense experience, but didn't need to be more intense. So when the stream starts and the pre-show kind of music starts for night 2, things start to intensify in the birth room. And she started to go into like active labor when the band got on stage. And we're like streaming it on the phone or iPad or both, and it's coming through the the speaker that we have, which had bass, and it was just like, and the boys walk on the stage, and it's like she looks at me, and she's this, it's happening, like with the boys walking out on stage, and then they come. I don't even know what the first. I'm like trying to get it up here. The time has come. The time has come.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so literally, dude, fucking A. They drop the time has come,
Oh.
and she goes into active labor. Okay,
Wow.
and then they drop the they drop the dead prez. It's bigger
Oh
than
yeah, yeah,
hip,
yeah, yeah.
hop,
Yeah.
hop, hip, and through that whole thing, she's going into active labor, and she starts like crowning during YNDIO. Starts crowning, and then the baby comes out, and the first, like, the baby comes out as like, I say the baby, Leela Althea Samso, right, comes out as YNDIO is trickling out
Yeah.
and Wake Up is starting.
Oh.
The first thing that my daughter heard in her life as a human with fresh human ears, is Wake Up live at the Warfield.
Wow.
Into Grateful Dead, Althea. Boom. So that's where she gets that name, and that was given to her by my wife. We had already decided Samso because Hrothgar got Danish history, like it's a whole thing. Like Samso is an island in Denmark, and so it was like, hey, yeah, we love Pretty Lights. We're also Danish. Let's do this. Boom.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then dude, the rest of the and so I was dancing with my daughter. That was our first dance, was Wake Up and Althea, and it really felt like just I don't even know. I'm still in that energy right now. It's like I knew in that moment, it's all good.
Wow, dude, that's amazing. That is fucking amazing, dude. Yeah, which by the way, for those of you watching, and those that aren't, I always put a show on in the background, and I asked Guy what he would like, and he said, gave a couple options and said night 2, San Francisco was, when his daughter was born. I'm sorry, what's her first name again?
Leela,
Oh, Leela. Okay,
Lila.
Leela. When
Yeah,
his daughter
Leela.
Leela was born, I apologize. I just keep thinking Althea. So, yes, he told we have it on here, and then that is one of my favorite shows. The second night, and yeah, dude, it's crazy. Again, like the kind of like all the connections that we have before, before our meeting and everything. But yeah, just like I felt something that night, and obviously yours is a much bigger thing. But I like I said, like I'm saying, the energy was there, and we shared a piece of that energy for different reasons.
Yeah, we were all pushing it. We're all there. Like, and I think that's what I've really felt since the comeback, is that it is a connective collaboration. And this tour with Check Your Vector and like the sample requests, it's becoming a thing where people are starting to get like once in a lifetime experiences from something that like is, I think the energy of We're Not Alone,
Yeah.
it just beats in the heartbeat of the Pretty Lights family.
Yeah. Well, and to go further than that, like for like going back to us talking about the hiatus and stuff, and just that's why I think it's really hitting for all of us a lot. Like so many people's lives have changed since then, and like because we love it and it came back, it just hits a lot different. And then on top of it, you add in how much better they've gotten, and just like the way that they're able to hit you in these moments when it's not always a pretty light song, it's a sample, or it's just like the mood and the vibe of the song. I mean, and again, to go back to the Sun Spreads on Our Minds, they played that Saturday, so night 3, and so it's just funny to think like Thursday, a lot of OG shit, and like for the most part, I think there's only a couple, 1 or 2 new songs. If it was, I think it was just the only one I can remember is Butterfly. But then into night 2, you have your daughter being born, and like they break out all this stuff, and then night 3 is like that's where the going on part, and then there's the sun spreads, and just again knowing that is a song that speaks to you. It kind of just went in the phases, right? It's like Thursday was about your wife, Friday was about your daughter, and then it's like Saturday's almost for you.
Oh, totally. I know
Yeah.
the truth. I know the truth. Into sun spreads in your minds into still night, like,
Yeah.
and Dionysus, and Sound of Silence,
Yeah.
and Time to Build a Home, and Regular Priority.
Try to
Holy.
remember with the fucking with Eyes of the World in there.
So 11/11 is also my wife and I's anniversary, our marriage anniversary.
Wow.
So it's my wife's birthday, my daughter's birthday, and then our wedding anniversary. My wife has another anniversary at that time too. That is anniversary of life. Her
Okay.
father passed when she was 19 on the 13th. So powerful time for us, you know, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, but like the joy that's come. So Leela, her name means divine play in Sanskrit. Divine play, like this, what we're in life right now. It's like we're animated and experiencing life in a play of emotions, of experience, of those kind of things. And it's like a way for me to kind of remember that, like everything that Pretty Lights and all my healing journey and everything is just like wrapped up in this. But being a father still isn't all of my identity, but it is definitely a driving factor now for the clarity that I'm able to find in my own experience.
Yeah.
Another reason why I was lucky to have like kind of snowboarding ripped away from me
Yeah.
before, you know, and like I think what I have felt the deepest thing for me is like the streams are allowing me and my like daughter to participate at a level that's safe for her too,
Hmm.
because she's 1 or it's like 15 months and she loves the light show. She loves the music. Like she will dance. Like
Yeah.
she was born through the swirl. And so we're like, you know, it's a gift to be able to say, hey, I'm going to support the stream. I'm going to help and plug into the community in the ways that we're doing it. And then allow ourselves to leverage ourselves into that next place that's not so scary. This is what I see is like when I hear Pretty Lights Family and when I see the direction that we're going as like as a movement, as the band, as the crew, as like this, the whole thing is that like we want to be doing this for forever. We want to
Yeah.
be doing this forever. We want to be able to like get through this and know that like when you come back to tour, it might be changed a little bit, but you're also bringing more love, this next generation of love into the world, built on the foundation of what Pretty Lights like did for you, for me, you know? And so like there's not, and I think like I don't know, I've seen a lot of parents and like just kind of abandon what they love, thinking that it's best for their kids. And I don't, the jury's still out on that. Like, I would say, like, you know, nourished parents and like healed parents, like, nourish and allow healed kids. So,
Yeah.
like, if we just starve ourselves of what we like want and what we actually like gives us that nourishment of connection, then we don't have that to give to our connections,
Yeah.
you know? And I get it, dude. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be scared. And it's okay to be scared that like life is changing
Hmm.
now and that it's going to keep changing. But I think it's going to keep getting better if we
Oh yeah.
can if we continue to find ways that it is better now, then look at potentially things that could have gone better or things that can't happen now.
Yeah. You've talked about starting a podcast, or you mentioned a podcast. I mean, I think that's a great. I love your name and all that stuff. So, I mean, yeah. What are your like? And I would like to. I would love to help you out in any way I can in that regard. Just yeah. Let me know what your vision is, man. Lay it all out.
Yeah. So my wife and I are spiritual healers. Turns out. I say turns out, but it's always been something that has been in the background that I've and kind of just doing relationship stuff, intimate stuff with other people in terms of talking about what's going on, where they want to be, where you're going. And so I have opened myself to the Swirl Bridge, the hyperspace portal, as I call it. It's just like this portal from now to then, or where you want to be. And so just real simply, like right now, I act as a Kundalini yoga teacher, and a hyperspace coach, which is the conglomerate. It's like it's multi-dimensional life coaching, and death coaching, life, death, and beyond coaching, with a mystical flavor of psychedelic futurism, from my path over the past 20 years as a psychedelic medicine healer, and using these medicines consciously, ceremonially, recreationally, spiritually, medicinally, these kind of things. And really what I do is I help people integrate what we find in the expanded states so that we can make our life better in reality. Because sometimes we get so caught up in a moment, in a vision, in a dream, that we dissociate from the now. And so this is the concept of just kind of getting comfortable with the now and getting to where we want to go. And so it's like a new thing. But how do I explain it? Is I teach Kundalini Yoga online for free every week, a few times. And I hold a lot of sacred space, a lot of safe space, for other individuals that are going through kind of similar stuff that I talked about, with grief or injury or identity or consciousness expansion. I'm plugged into a couple of really awesome psychedelic communities as well. I have a bunch of conscious human resources to share. On the healing path, I've been on the healing path myself for a really long time in terms of physical therapy, in terms of the physical body, but also the emotional body. My mind is a tricky place to be. And then really I've always felt this deep connection with spirit in me, spirit or life force or source or God or, this, what we cannot see, yet what animates and guides our experience. So in the mothership, when the mothership this year or last tour started, I had been doing breathwork before the streams myself and doing yoga during the streams during the Soundship Space System tour. And then I said, well, I really enjoyed doing yoga before Dylan with everybody. Maybe people will want to meet online and just like tune in and do breath work before the online streams, because it really helped me to ground in and it helped me to feel connected to what was happening at the venue. Because I just like created this space to then go into the stream. And so I started leading it, Mothership night 1. And I think a couple people showed up that first night and we just did something basic. We went into it and feedback was good. And I was just like, cool, like I'm going to do this every set because I need to do it every set. So for me to get there. And so boom, it started. And I led it every set, every night before set 1, for every stop of this tour. And we had sometimes where it was like
Chicago, right?
Other than Chicago, yeah. And my wife, I don't know if anybody actually did tune in with her. My wife led it online for Chicago, while I was doing some stuff in person there. Yeah.
Do you think the concept is solely yourself? Are you going to bring people on every time, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, so the podcast, I think really this idea birthed for me is just like a place to kind of hold my experience, to just to hold my whole experience, and so that I can look at it and so that maybe other people can learn from it, but mostly so that I can like track where like what I believe is going on in reality and what I've experienced, and bring people in so I can hear what's going on and how they experience reality. And so we can start to really, I don't know, uncover how we can cohabitate in the same reality together. I guess that's the basis of it, and that's why it kind of hasn't started yet either. Is because I just do this, and so like my coaching space is like this. It's like a podcast almost, but like it's authentic space. And then I bring my training. I allow the practice that I've done to come into the space, and guide. So I'm a professional sexologist. I went to Somatica Institute in San Francisco, for sex and relationship coaching. And so that's an aspect of it. I've been doing psychedelic integration stuff. So making sense of what happens in psychedelic states and how it can be productive, or not.
Mm-hmm.
And,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Mostly I just show up in live space where I'm at, and I honestly don't know technology enough to get it going on my own. That's where I'm at. Really, I wanted my podcast to be me and the people that come on being authentic and
Yeah.
saying things that need to be said that
Yeah.
maybe aren't being said anywhere else.
I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope you do it, man. Because I think you have a great concept, like with all your, yoga and breath work, and your credentials, and all your
Yeah.
experiences. So I really think you should. I strongly encourage you to do so, because I mean, just talking to you now, you can definitely talk for a while. It's not. I mean, I have that too, but my problem is I need to be better about letting conversations, pun intended here, breathe. Because in the
Breathe.
beginning I was noticing I was talking too much and not asking questions and like all that stuff. So I'm learning there, but just hearing you now, I think you can totally, I mean, even do a lot by yourself, I'm sure. And then from there, I mean, yeah, I would just encourage you to start doing it, because you really notice a lot of things when you listen to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're gonna talk about like aliens and shit and like time travel and how it's like
Yeah,
possible and how like there's things that are going on that like really are, like, life is so fucking simple in this reality, but the layers of consciousness that we're experiencing as we move through life is like we have no idea what's going on. And so the podcast is me basically just talking about the things that I've found, trying to pretend I know what's going on, besides like breathing.
I love it.
Originally, I thought I was going to call my podcast A Trip Through Time because
No
that's like,
shit.
yeah, because that's
Oh,
like
no way.
because that's what the hyperspace portal is. The concept of the
Yeah.
hyperspace portal is this metaphor for the greater experience of life, but everything inside of life as well is like you birth and you're in the hyperspace portal, and then when you die, you leave it. And that's one section of it, right? But then the moment of indecision, the moment of transition, the moment of moving from this place to that next effective place for your game of life, that's the hyperspace portal. And so like it's just going to be us trying to figure out clues of reality to get ourselves into more pockets of bliss together in healthier, more secure ways that ripples out because like it's not just about us. Like I'm trying to help everyone, and I know I can't help anyone if I don't just like be me, and I'm weird.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I'm weird too, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, again, another like parallel, similar like thing going on between us, dude. So it's again another added to the list. That's wild.
So I was leading a breathwork specific kind of class with Pretty Lights Live. So we do some breathwork with Pretty Lights Live on Fridays. It started in, I think, November on off weeks so that we could kind of like still in between shows, we could still tune in and breathe. So I'd like put on the stream and we'd do breath work, right? Or put on like a stop or SoundCloud or something and just like a couple different songs, whatever, and start breathing with the music and link. And so we could do that in the off weeks. But since tour ended, that Friday spot has become just a community kind of check-in, a community safe space. So we can come in and we can reflect, we can talk about what's going on with life or, yeah, just kind of anything. Drop in. We do a little bit of brief like meditation and breath work in the beginning just to set the space. But I've found it really beneficial, especially during the hiatus, to start connecting in with the people that are like-minded. And for me, like Pretty Lights people aren't like, I don't have many Pretty Lights people in my area. And so being able to plug in online and still feel connected, it has been a gift. And so this is my way to give back, is just open a space for us all to kind of hang out each week. If you can stop in on Friday afternoons, do it. And then on Mondays, I'm actually going to start doing Pretty Lights yoga online. So we'll listen to Pretty Lights and do a class that I built to go along with the different sets. And that's how I do a class. I'm not making a playlist. I build a class for the set. And so then we'll do a class like for a section of the set or sort of stuff like that. And it's
That's
really
awesome.
fun. It's super cool. I've been doing it for this tour like on my own too. Just kind of getting it down and practicing, and this thing that has really brought me a lot of joy and allowed me to plug in not only to like the stream more, but be like more authentically embodied in presence while I'm like listening. So
No,
yeah.
that's awesome. I need to do a class, and yeah, I would love to do it to some Pretty Lights music. But where can people find you and find these places to take your classes?
At Hyperspace.Sky on Instagram and Discord, I'm friendly. You can reach out to me if you need to. And then our website is the Golden Hallows, HALLOWS. We'll put a link in there.com. And the Golden Hallows is our healing mission. It is our sacred site, what we've like deemed our property, the name of our property out in Oregon. Our spiritual art sanctuary, healing sanctuary. That's where you can find the online yoga schedule. I do three free classes a week online that are donation based. And right now, like I like showing up in the live space. I haven't really gotten the equipment or the stuff to make recording kind of a consistent thing. Right now, the practices are live with me every week, and that's how you get into space with me. Or you can reach out through any of the other channels. And as it comes together, it's beautiful. I think like it's been coming together a lot faster for me since I kind of just relaxed. And that's what I spent all year doing last year, was just relaxing and just teaching people how to relax through the breath and through yoga. Like that's what we want. Like, yeah, we got to do stuff, but we want to be able to stay relaxed while we do it. All the donation-based classes and the stuff that I offer is all levels. We might push ourselves a little bit in the Monday class, the new Pretty Lights class, because it's fun. But like it's still accessible to all bodies and all levels of yoga, because that's important to me. As a teacher offering public classes, it's not about me. It's not about what I can do. It's not about like the super advanced poses or meditations or breath work that I can do. It's about serving the people who come into the space. And so my live spaces are typically gentle, all levels, and everyone is welcome. And then I do a lot of one-on-one helping people develop their personal practice so that then they know what classes to take, and then they know what practices to take or what practices to stay away from when they're going through certain injuries or pregnancy, these kind of things, all this stuff. And that's my passion. It really is like getting in and helping how I can, not
Yeah.
digging, but I'm here if people are ready for help. So yeah, it's tough out there. It's tough out there. Sometimes we just need to get on the mat and move our arms around, breathe a little bit, maybe shed a tear, and get back to it.
All right, well, yeah, guys. I mean, just look at what Pretty Lights and music in general, but specifically for our community, look what it does. I mean, it really motivates people to do things like Sky does, and then it motivated me to do this project. And through us doing those things, we've met each other, and now made memories, built a friendship, and continue to build a bond. And now doing what we've been saying we were going to do since the beginning, and the timing was right. So yeah, it just shows this movement, this community, this music, the energy and the love is palpable, and it keeps providing. I mean, like, the connections keep growing, and I just love everything that it brings.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, probably top song since the comeback is Arc of Time, Arc of Light, whatever. The
Yeah,
first time at Mothership. Whoa.
yeah, keep
Yeah, the
going.
favorite songs and my new ones. It's like it's so good. It's so good. You know, that new that Cool Me Now, the Smooth Operator that we got to hear too, and again, in Chicago was really, really good. But I would say like consistently it has been for me the most resonant ones have been Sound of Silence, The Sun Spreads in Our Mind, and Wake Up and Wake Up. And Time to Build a Home. Like, what is this? Like, I don't even. Dude, I am so just like giddy with all the new stuff. Like, it's really hard for me to choose. Like, I love the new vibe. That's it. It's like, I love what is coming out in the resonance of the new music, even the way that they're touching back into some of the older stuff. And like, I Know the Truth for me has been one of my favorite songs since it came out. It's like one of the songs that I used to run to the rail for every show when I could run. I was not really a rail person. I like to bop around and see the show from different angles, but then when I Know the Truth comes on, I go down into the pit, and like it gets rowdy. But even this year, like with the way that they were mixing like the Millie sample
Yeah.
and the biggest boss samples into it, and like it was just taking me to that next level. Truly, 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 I feel like the Check Your Vector tour has lifted us all to that next level, you know?
Yeah, check your vector. Yeah, man, I'll never. It, so much, so much shit went down this tour. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, it hit me like a fucking bag of bricks after Chicago, dude. It was fucking insane. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
me too. I've been gripping with it, but we know off season is here. We knew it was coming, and that's kind of what I felt at Chicago too. It was like it was kind of similar vibes that I felt at like it was kind of similar vibes that I felt at Red Rocks 2018.
really.
Not saying that there's going to be a hiatus, but it was just like such a celebration. That's how I felt at New Year's was just like, but it was in a new way of like we're celebrating, we're celebrating how far we've come, and now we get to take a little bit of a break to reestablish and redesign and come back even stronger.
I guess so. I didn't like think about it until now, but yeah, like think about Soundship Space System tour. Like, right, they end in early December in New Orleans, and awesome shows, great sets. But this was like a New Year's, and again, set two, night two, just celebrating happiness, and just like the last few years have been awesome. Let's fucking tie a bow, boom, done, and then move into 2025. And yeah, it was just, I think it really was a celebration of the last 2 years, and it felt like a proper, like the occasion and the night and the all the variables were flowing and circulating. Yeah, it was something else.
And even at Boston with the close of the actual tour, like tour closer, right? Because then
Yeah.
they added the New Year's dates after. Derek said, we've completed the first phase of the sequence. We've completed the first phase of the sequence, and we're going. And to me, then they dropped like on night 2 of Boston was like, again, it was rinsing all of the old stuff through.
Yeah,
But
night 2
then,
is like that, like kind
but
of
then night
of
3
storytelling.
comes out and says, this is the new, this is us. This is us. This is we're coming into the new. We're coming into the new.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to see what happens. Like I think we are very likely to see Pretty Lights become like a popular band. Um and I don't mean strictly like I don't mean sell out and play pop music or music that they don't like that doesn't feel good to them.
Yeah.
But I mean like I feel like the boys are in the pocket and the crew is so tight and the it's all so good
Yeah.
that it can only get better at this point, and it can only bring more people in because the samples are just touching the nostalgia in so many different pockets of diversity and musical taste, and it's something to me that I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the
Yeah.
ride as the flower continues to open.
Yeah, I know. So they always keep us on our toes, and it's like I have no clue as to any prediction or thought as to what's going on. I think the low hanging fruit thought and prediction is, do we get an album this year? I really don't know. I don't know if like he's already got songs ready. I think if I could like
Do it.
speculate,
Yeah,
I
let's do
just
it.
don't like maybe they don't want to do like all the fucking baggage that comes with releasing new music, which is like
Duh. Why
getting
that's
shit approved. I mean, aside from getting stuff approved, just like media interviews and like all that stuff. Like when you're releasing, people like, we got to talk to Pretty Lights about this album. We got to do this. We got to have them on. Like it's just I think it's a lot of extra shit that maybe Derek coming back is some of the stuff he wanted to cut out of what comes with being an artist in this industry. Like with for instance, touring where it's like one city stops and then having going and playing this festival and that one, and then just constantly being in circuit. I think that it looks like, I mean, I can only assume that they go play shows. They don't ride on a bus. He flies there. Everything's shipped in ahead of time. They go in, they arrive, they play. He goes back home. Gets back to where he needs to be. I mean, so it
This
just
is
seems like
so
they.
funny. This
But
is so funny. It's just like I'm thinking because like I like mirror it kind of to my own experience of being like I just said I like to show up in live space. I don't want to have recorded yoga classes out there. I don't want to like yet. And so maybe he's feeling that too. Maybe he's feeling like the energy is more powerful used to create the live experience for now continually than to worry about, like you said, the logistics of do you know how many people they have to and estates they have to talk to get the rights for all of the samples that they use to not and like I'm so thankful that we got an EP, but I'm still listening to all the live recordings because the lucid stream quality is so
yeah,
good.
yeah. I mean, I'm always like, I think it's a big like a big thing amongst fans of like jam or anything else like experimental and improvisational, that you always like you always like the live stuff over the studio stuff. And I mean, especially going back to the Grateful Dead and things, but there's so many parallels for me and the Dead, I'm sorry, for Pretty Lights and the Dead for me, and especially this. Like, I actually saw a clip of Bob Weir getting an interview, and they were talking to them about like, oh, because there's this thing called taper tapes, okay, taper section, for people like the band said, because there's people with recording equipment, they go record the live
Yeah,
show. And then so they like, well, it got annoying, Bob Weir's like, well, but he's like, we had to make these sections because people didn't want this big obnoxious thing blocking their view. So we had, okay, these are the taper tickets or taper section or whatever. And the guy interviewing him was like, don't you think that's kind of bad for business to let fans go and record your music? And he's like, well, I think it actually benefited us because every time we're playing it so differently and everyone wants these. So it only promoted the experience of being there live.
yeah,
So he's like, yeah, our album stuff, we were never crazy about it anyway. And we don't think we're that good on record. We think we're much better live. And that only was a true promotional thing because it was like an underground thing here. People would trade them and all this stuff. And that's
Hmm.
exactly what's going on with Pretty Lights. And I think for people who make music in such a way that's so organic and free range, and just I especially love when one. I think a lot of these new songs you really don't hear at the same time, more than once or whatever. It's always different. So like,
Yeah.
I think Derek probably is just like, dude, the amount of time I would spend on making these studio tracks and all that stuff, and then it just kind of takes away, I think, from what he's doing now, and
Yeah.
probably just feels low pressure and
And I love that the quality, like, I love that they're streaming and now, like, shout out Hammy T and like people who are recording this stuff too, so that people can put their phones down at the show. Because I've
yeah,
noticed that a lot, like, because people know that the recording is available,
exactly.
like, there's not as many people like just filming the whole show, like, for
Yeah.
themselves. And so,
No, I know that part's great. For anyone out there, if you see me at a show, I have my shit out often, but I'm taking clips because I actually make a video out of
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I know it's like a cringy thing. It always is. I mean, for instance, like fucking, they were playing night one on the encore. They were doing like just like that in Boston. They did the Dream On Objects in the Mirror, Aerosmith Mac Miller thing, and then like just it's a cool moment. Fucking everyone loves that song, and a lot of like the amount of phones you see pop open. And it's just like whenever that's happened, I feel weird having mine out too. But again, like at least for me, I'm doing something with it and I'm making a project out of it.
Yeah, no, this
Everyone
isn't,
else,
I'm not saying anything against
no,
anybody
I
who
know, I know,
actually
I
is
know. But I'm
recording.
just
I'm
like,
just saying, I
no, I know.
noticed, even at Chicago, I noticed
Yeah.
how, how present people were, more present people were than it used to be,
No, I'm with you.
you know?
I know where you're going with that. I just felt I had to say for myself, and if anyone, if I'm ever there, if you notice me, like, yeah, I at least, and I put together that edit from Chicago. That was definitely my best one. But like, I also had
That was
for
dope.
anyone, I also want to encourage anyone, like, if you do feel like, I definitely would say, I recommend putting your phone down and not watching it, which is also why I like doing these edits and stuff, is that I'm making something that people can kind of be like, oh, that like captured the weekend. Definitely recommend you do that. But if you do, like for instance, Brennan for the Illumination Art Lab, dude, he took some shots down low, like he was close by the rail, and I had some really sick different perspectives, and that really helped tie
Yep.
that video together. And then I had this another friend of mine, Mia, took some too. But like I said, for people that do that, I am definitely trying to make more and get more into the video editing stuff, and I want to start making a video per stop next year. But I'm not going to be at them, so I'm going to need people to send me stuff. But yeah,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who captures their perspective of Pretty Lights so I can see a different one, because I am too immersed in the present moment to pull my phone out most of the time. And it's really awesome to be able to experience it through the lens of other people's experiences, you know?
yeah,
And I think that like the Lucid Stream has given me like a way to connect for myself and know that like if I feel like I need to like be there for someone, right? Or if I actually have to like go make dinner during the stream and kind of like put it on the iPad or, do something like that, that I know I can like come back and like drop in fully. It's like captured in time. And to me, that's why I always took out my phone, is because I wanted to revisit that moment. And like, I'm grateful that like, I can revisit it, and now I don't have to like worry about doing it for myself.
yeah. Real quick, I just want to say also, when I left Chicago, right? I'm fucking, I'm outside, and like they rolled the credits, had our name was on there, and I see you in the middle of the street, and you're like walking across in like literally in the intersection because I couldn't find my friends. And then you're like, yo, did you see they put your name up there? I'm like, yeah, how'd that happen? And you're like, because you're doing the fucking work. Keep it up and shit. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. So yeah, and I didn't see you. But yeah, fucking love you, dude. That thank you for again giving me all that shit and sharing those moments in Chicago and doing this now. So you're a great person. Appreciate you.
Mm, Benny, I'm happy to know you. I'm super stoked that we've connected in this way. I know it won't be the last. We'll have a crossover at some point too, maybe a
Yeah.
couple of them, and Yeah, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing the different fractals of pretty lights to come shine through in this space. It's really like it's welcoming. It's creating more intimacy, like more connection,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we're here for. That's why I continue to keep coming back. Is like it's the connection that keeps feeding me.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't gotta ask. I don't gotta ask. I
Oh
just
yeah.
show up and offer love, and it just expands. So I'm stoked.
Oh yeah. It's expanding perspective. The rainbow connection, the mothership connection, it's here. So,
It's
yeah,
here.
okay. Guys, thank you for joining us on this conversational journey and a trip through time through hyperspace in the sky, in the atmosphere, in the fucking solar system. Yo, it's beyond a pleasure to talk to this guy. Love him. Go check him out. Again, where can people find you?
TheGoldenHallows.com. That's the best place. At
Perfect.
Hyperspace Sky on Instagram.
Awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, guys, check him out. Coincides with all the stuff Derek preaches, the breath work, everything, tuning in. As you saw, we started this episode off like that, and it really grounded us. So,
Let's close out too. Let's close out. Three
yeah,
deep breaths, not too much, just 3 deep breaths. We'll hold the last one and just anchor in that love, that light inside. So we'll take a deep inhale. Full exhale. Deep inhale. Slow controlled exhale. One more deepest inhale. And hold it. You are love expanding. And then exhale. See that love expanding out to infinity, uplifting all beings everywhere. And sometimes that's all it takes. Thank you all. I look forward to this next season. And yeah, come hang out with us in the off season. Do some breath work.
all right, right on, guys.
We're here.
Yeah, check him out. And if you don't mind, always helps. Like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Engage. Love
Yeah,
all
follow,
y'all.
subscribe, donate, throw Benny some bucks. He's working hard. If there's a channel for that. Gratitude to you for a minute for doing everything, setting
Thank
up the
you.
raffles, getting the stuff going for Viz. Like you're dude, you're showing up and we need you as much as you need us.
All right, man. Thank you for everything. Looking
Yeah.
forward to
Love
everything
you.
you're gonna do, and looking forward to doing this again. So appreciate you, dude, in all ways.
Yes. Sending love down south to you and your family, your growing family.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited to see how it pieces together and what you and the magic that you pull together for it.
Absolutely, man. This will conclude this episode of Trip Through Time. And as time goes by, memories never die, and tons of memories to be made. So cherish them, build them, spread them, as we do here. So again, everybody out there, check this guy out, check us out, and connect with us. If you got some shit to say, if you really got some stuff, come to me and tell me. All right, dude. Well, thanks. Appreciate you, man. All right, much love.
Mic drop.
All right.